All right, we are on. Um, Good evening, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Let This Mind. My name is Chris Melville, one of your co-hosts. I'm joined by Lilac Jones, Jameer Harrison. Um, if you were waiting, thank you for waiting. I know we started a little bit behind schedule, but that's okay. It was only a prolonged wait, so that way we can build up anticipation.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so what we want to do with this episode, this will be, if you're looking at the description and title, it says season one wrap up. I know it's been about three or 4 weeks since we did our last episode. Um, you know, Juneteenth happened, Father's Day happened. If you celebrate the 4th of July, that happened. And we are in a new month, so with the new month comes new opportunities, new challenges, new things to discuss. But for today and tonight, we want to just do a recap of kind of the things we talked about and some of the things we have to look forward to. So, like I said, again, my name is Chris Melville. If you want to just do a quick check-in, Jameer, Lilac, whoever wants to go first.
A check-in. Well, hey world. It's been a while. I missed y'all. I mean, I talked to them individually, but I miss doing this. Um, yeah, life is good. Life is great. And even when it ain't, the Lord is still good. So we make through it. We make through it. Hallelujah. Hallelujah.
Glory. Yeah, my check-in is similar. Definitely miss seeing everyone, but life happens, right? We all have things going on. So much has happened. Right, Juneteenth, Father's Day, Kiki Palmer, and Usher. Just things have gone on. Okay. Happy to be here. Happy to wrap up the season. I think we had a great season. Happy to be here with both of you. Truly appreciate what you both bring to the table.
Yeah. So, okay, I like that. We can veer off the path a little bit and start with some social commentary on on Usher's shenanigans out there in Las Vegas. I think it kind of ties into a couple of our topics that we talked about. I would say, boundaries, and I would kind of say broken relationships. So, I mean, me personally, when I saw that, I was just like, I know context and I understand context, so I wasn't offended. I'm also not. I'm a father, but not the father to Keke Palmer's baby. Which hey, if I would, I wouldn't be complaining. However, I think there's a lot of messiness that just went on in terms of social media and the boyfriend reacting to saying, she commenting on what he commented on her how she was dressed, right?
Yeah, her dress,
and then her motherhood. So me personally, I'm against kind of the airing out your personal business on social media thing.
Yeah.
Clearly, that's not the case for him and them. But would I be offended? I feel like I wouldn't. I feel like I wouldn't be offended, and I don't think it's it's inappropriate. It's more or less like this context. Keke Palmer is who she is. Usher is who he is, in a performance setting. That's what's going to happen. That's what's going to happen. So
that's what's going to happen.
But yeah, I just think, I think the whole thing just got messy, and it lends back to more or less like, again, I don't know their relationship, but just work that they need to do or he needs to do or whatever the case is. But yeah, I thought that was wild. I don't know why, that was the hot topic for anybody.
It still is. And I think his response let us know their relationship, right? Family business is family business. I think this is a great tangent and a great detour for us to go on. And then, because it happened, right? We're not going to ignore it. For me, I'm a modest dresser, right? I understand my shape. I understand my body. I watch how clothes hit my body. I know, what it is. I make sure that I dress a certain way based on where I am, what I do, how people see me in the community, on social media and everything, right? It wasn't so much about the dress. I think he just got insecure personally. You know what I mean? I think he got insecure about her closeness to Usher, right? She's a celebrity. Usher's a celebrity. The hop to her being with Usher is not a large leap. Do I think what she was wearing was revealing? Absolutely. I mean, whether she was a mom or not, I think that women need to be careful of how they expose their bodies. That's just me talking. Modesty is everything, right? Give the man something to desire a little bit. Like, you know what I mean? Don't have everything out and bare. That's my opinion on that. I would not be caught dead or alive in the outfit that she had on. Like, whether my body was toned, in shape, whether there wasn't a bakery roll factory happening, it doesn't matter how my body type was, I wouldn't be caught wearing that, because whether I was in a relationship, married or not, it just wouldn't be something that I'm wearing. Is that a conversation they should have had? For sure. Different strokes for different folks. I feel like the insecurity came when he attacked her motherhood. What you wear doesn't detract or take away from you being a mother. I think that's where the conversation went left. Keep that in-house. Sir, Darius, we don't even need to know that. That's something you talk about when Kiki gets home from frolicking with Usher. You talk about that when she gets home, and we never had to know this. Now she's out and the rebuttals, and she's made merchandise, and she's had all these reply videos, and it's messy. We didn't want to be in your business. You put us in business we shouldn't have been in because of an insecurity. Men heal, women heal. Watch how we talk to each other. Mm-hmm. His comment, I believe, was completely inappropriate. Mm-hmm. But you're a mom, though. So because she wore that, she's not a mom? Come on. That's how I feel, even with me never wanting to wear an outfit that she did. A bit much for him to air it out. But on the other end, that's a conversation they need to have. Kiki's been Kiki forever. She's been Kikiing forever. She exposes her body. She shows skin. You knew that, Darius, when you put a baby in her. Why did you expect her to change? Be careful of who we have children with. That's numero uno, but I'll get off my soapbox.
I mean, y'all said everything. I feel like as a mom, it's like, well, I mean, you know, body positivity. We all talk about it. We all feel like, hey, to each his own. But I feel like what Steph said, what Chris said, what the other Chris was saying in the comment section, like, if you're in a relationship, you have to conduct yourself accordingly. Like,
can we put Chris that? Can we put that comment up?
Sure.
Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
Okay. All I was saying was, like, if you're in a relationship, conduct yourself accordingly. Like, if he knew that's what she was wearing, he should have been like, babe, I'm not comfortable with it. But I mean, if that's what you choose to do, even after I voiced my discomfort in it, that's a different conversation. I don't feel like people should air out anything on social media. And I feel like when it comes to entertainment, they're like, well, I'm gonna make money off of anything. Like that girl Catch Me Outside, and how there was a whole entire wave with that. There was hats and t-shirts and keychains and all this other stuff made after those kinds of things. And it's like, listen, y'all, we're trying to keep the Black families together, and this is not how we do it. We don't project. We don't leak it onto social media. We don't involve the whole world in your discomfort, whether you felt like you were wronged or not. That's a conversation between you and your lady, sir.
Yes.
So was the consensus that they were in a relationship, or they are in a relationship? They co-parenting?
They were.
What is the consensus? They were.
Well, I don't think they are in a relationship anymore, based on her posts. But they were in a relationship. I don't think he was just the baby daddy. Mm-hmm. I think he was her boyfriend. She was his girlfriend. I think they were cohabitating and raising. What's his name? Lucius, Leonidas, something old. Mm-hmm. Whatever his name is, I think they were raising him together as a couple.
Right. So, I mean, when we talk about, we talk about the subject of motherhood, and then men who have insecurities, and I don't want to generalize and say men and insecurities, but what we talked about in our episode with broken homes, it's like, you know, the idea in this comment, I wanted to tie into it too, is like, you know, the idea of when you get in a relationship and knowing how to conduct yourself, right? Are those conversations that you're having, was it they broke up beforehand, we didn't know about it until this happened, and now all the business is being put out online, you know? And
yeah, they could have.
You know, I think it's, again, like Jermaine said, you know, I'm for Black families, and being a father who's with, you know, I'm not with my daughter's mother. You know, a lot of the stuff we go through it privately, you know, and because again, I understand that is my daughter's mother and I am her father, and that we can't replace those roles as much as we'd like to. But
it is what it
again,
is.
to go on social media and do all that, I think it really spoke to his insecurities, especially in 2023. When Black women are as free as they are, and I don't say that in like in a scandalous way, but it's just in as free as they are in general, whether they're in relationships or not. So I mean, I think again, that would be something where I'm just like, I would have that conversation privately. Setting expectations right beforehand, not
right
calling it out, and and again, it's context. Like that, I'm not on the level of Usher or Keke Palmer, and I wouldn't, again, knowing that they probably have a existing relationship, friendship, right? The context of it, I just think it spoke to a lot of insecurities and a lot of the obviously social media is whatever's hot and popping right now. This is hot and popping right now, and then the next thing will come and go. But I think it speaks overall to kind of our community as a whole, and just the work that continuously needs to be done, just around, again, respect and respecting each other.
Respecting each other.
Right.
And what he said was right. I'm just saying, like, and so Chris put up another comment, and thank you, Chris, for your commentary. Seriously, to me, it was an insecurity to put it on. The insecurity came when you put it on social media, my guy. What you said was right. I believe mothers, but then I'm going to explain it to all women. This is me coming from a woman. I believe all women, we should honor our bodies in a way that we're not displaying our bodies for everyone to see, right? There are certain things that only our significant others should see, right? And when I say that, I don't even mean boyfriend, girlfriend, right? I mean, like, okay, there's some things only your wife or your husband should see. That's how I feel, right? Keke showing her whole behind, literally, like not just theoretically, like literally showing her whole behind. That was a bit much for someone to be in a relationship. The insecurity for me came in when, as we're saying, Darius, you put that on social media. You didn't need to comment on it. You didn't need to do anything. You know what I mean? Immaturity and insecurity sometimes go hand in hand. Emotional immaturity equates to an insecurity, to me, right? From what I've seen with coaching, with therapizing people, if you have an insecurity, you're going to do something like this. He was right. You're a whole mom, Keke. I don't believe you should have been dressed like that, right? That's how I feel. But should it have been put on social media for us to see? Should we be in the conversation? Should people be able to buy merch from Keke now saying, I'm a mother and I want a shirt? I'm not going to get one, but it's cute. It's nice, right? Or Stevie Wonder to the B. Like, should we have been even involved in this? No. Darius, you shouldn't have put it on social media. That is where you cross into the boundary of insecurity.
I think
mix in there too.
Yeah. I mean, I think so here's this conversation that I don't think I've really talked about too publicly or openly, but we've kind of had the discussion. We talked about the self-awareness. We talked about the knowing yourself and the people around you and surrounding yourself with all these people. And I think, and I know in our community, right, there's statistics to back it up. There are things to back it up. The Black women right now are winning, right? I'm not saying that Black men are winning any less, but they are winning. And that's the way our kind of society and structure has set things up. So I see, right, where the desire for a man who wants to respect and who wants to set boundaries, but those are things that, and I think we talked about in every episode, no matter what, are foundational pieces when it comes to any relationship, right? Whether it be an employer-employee relationship, whether it be friendships, right? Whether it be, whatever. Those are things that I talked about beforehand. And I think at certain points, that emotional awareness and that emotional security is like, there's a time and place for everything. I know for sure there's a time and place for everything. And, once you put it out into the atmosphere of the internet, things become a wildfire a lot more than they do a contained conversation or a contained subject. And like I said, I think, I understand context. I know what it is. However, I think, for me personally, I would be like, I think if we had a community police for Black people, the community police should have said, we're not talking about this, y'all go handle it. Delete it from everywhere, and then y'all talk about it. And if y'all not together, cool. If y'all are together, move forward accordingly. But again, y'all just embarrassing yourselves, and then this child, her son, right? The son.
We need that. We need community police.
I'm ready to sign up. I want to use the word police carefully, right? Obviously, because of our history with it, but looking to other groups of people to hold us accountable to our behaviors and our culture is not progressive in the way that it needs to be. We got another couple comments. I just put those up.
The long one.
Yeah. So Kiara said she wasn't disrespecting herself, her child, or her relationship. He's extremely immature and insecure. Beyonce, J-Lo, Cardi B, mothers, and all their bodies all over the internet are capable to thrive in their careers without their partners embarrassing them on Twitter. I mean,
got a point.
Like I said, the free Black or brown, J-Lo identifies as Hispanic, so Black or brown women. I just think, I think it's again, the idea of we need to hold ourselves accountable and hold each other accountable, and not just putting it out there. And there's a lot of the gender wars, and that just gets really messy. Yeah. But all right, not to digress too much. We talked about it, but that was a great. I think that's a great kind of segue into a lot of the other things that we talked about. So, just thinking back, how for Jermaine, Steph, how are you all feeling about kind of the things that we've covered, the topics that we discussed? Is there anything that we didn't talk about in those hours with the topics that we had that you think we maybe should have? Or, obviously I know we are thinking about ideas for season 2 that we should build off of for the podcast.
Mm-hmm. What I really appreciated about the topics we covered, I feel like those are foundational conversations, right? I think what I've learned as a therapist and just, minister and just person in general is that people are always trying to build and then get confused as to why things are destroyed so quickly. And I feel like it's because we don't go back to the roots. We don't go back to the beginning and say, like, so where in my foundation is missing? Is it me? Is it my insecurities with self? Is it because of the broken family I come from? Is it because I thought I was healed and I really wasn't? Like, I was talking to my client earlier and we were talking about roots, and she was saying how she cut some roots off and thought she got it all because she was digging deep, only to find out there was deeper roots and it spread out wider. And I feel like if we don't have these conversations about what trauma can turn into and broken homes can turn into and low self-esteem and lack of understanding of who you are in this world, your roots are spreading out to your professional life, to your personal life, to your relationships, to like anywhere. And we're all connected to someone, and we have to take a step back and say, like, am I causing damage to the people around me all because I'm not healed? And so I greatly enjoy the foundation, and I feel like maybe in season 2 we talk about how to build off of these fixed foundations now that we have talked about getting to the root and starting from the beginning.
Yeah, I agree completely. Yesterday I was with 2 of my other sisters and we were talking about this retreat we're having in September, right? And it's called the Refresher Retreat, but it's going to be healing just for women, right? and it's talking about boundaries and broken relationships and healing from this, is that, and the third, right? And the topic was how to get to the root of something or why it's important to. And I feel the same way as Jermaine. The topics that we talked about, the broken people, the broken relationships, what it means to be a wounded healer, and all that, we laid a good foundation. How I operate in my practice is about awareness. You can handle anything if you're aware of it. We trip over stuff that we're not aware of, right? We're walking around in the dark and tripping over stuff. When you're aware, the light turns on. We have made people aware of the certain things that might be the stumbling block. I believe in turning a stumbling block into a stepping stone. What you're aware of, now you can use to elevate yourself. So, right, season 2 is about building. I want to incorporate more conversation. I want to incorporate more application. We've identified, we've become aware. How do we apply? How do we activate this thing? Because the goal is to heal, right? We're saying, let this mind what? It's like the great I am. The great I am is whoever we need him to be. Let this mind what? Let this mind be positive. Let this mind heal. Let this mind be trauma free. You apply whatever you need for your mind to do. And so I feel like we laid a good foundation with no cracks, because there's nothing worse than a foundation with cracks. Anything you try to build on a foundation with cracks, it's going to crumble. You try to build a relationship, a business, any partnership, that foundation is going to crumble under you. We're helping you build a solid foundation with no cracks. It's nice and smooth, nice and even, and it can hold the pressure that life gives us. So that's what I think we did season 1. Super proud of us. Woo woo, we did it. Nice foundation. Now we're ready to build and ascend and go higher.
I agree. I think the first episode was powerful because we acknowledged that we are all in our spiritual, emotional, physical journeys in different places, and I say journey in emphasis because it's not an end all, right? It's not okay, now I'm good and everything around me is good, right? We are our entire own ecosystems. We have people that we are connected to, things that we are connected to, and if we're not doing the work to cut those roots off or realign them and reestablish them to I wouldn't just say our own personal benefit, but for the benefit of the people around us as well, then that's something that we have to still work on. And what I wanted to kind of talk about too was just the aspect of, for people who have been watching the podcast, asking questions, right? They're not sure. They're aware that they have their mental health issues that they're dealing with, but they're still kind of, and I don't know who, what that, who to reach out to discuss, or get a therapist, or should I look for one, or I want a Black therapist, or a therapist who looks like me. What recommendations does everyone have for them to kind of take that leap and look? Because I know in my personal journey, it took a good 3 months before I found someone and got into a routine and all those other things.
I'm going to jump in just really quick. I think people need to know that they are ready for therapy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because some people could think they're ready, then you get into and that's why I like doing initial consultations with people, right? As Jermaine, you hear me, right? Both of you do. You can assess and see if someone's ready by the way they're talking, by what they're sharing. You can tell when someone's trying to hide things or keep things back. Therapy is about transparency. If you are not ready to bear all and be exposed in every area, take a moment. It's fine. Take your moment. But when you get into this space, because it's a relationship between us and you, if we're therapizing you, if we're allowing you, all therapy is we are unraveling the knots. We pull the thread so it unravels. I like client-centered, focused therapy. Everything you need is inside of you. If you're not going to let me inside of you, I can't help you.
Right.
We do. So that's what I would say. I say all that to say, know that you're ready.
Yeah.
Take a check. Am I ready for therapy? Am I ready for the transparency of therapy, the harshness of therapy? Because we're not here to hold your hand and coddle you. We're here to get you right. right, in your entire being. If you can't take this honesty, we're not going to sugarcoat with you. We're not going to make it sweet and pretty. We're going to say some things that's going to hurt. If you're not built up enough to take that hit, just take a moment, prepare yourself, and then enter into the relationship.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree. I tell people all the time, like, this isn't a cakewalk. I am not a fortune teller. I am not Santa Claus. I am not someone's fairy godmother. Like, I can't poof you into, oh, hey, Space.
Stacey, I love you too. I don't know you, but I love you.
I can't poof them into greatness. Like, this is hard work. And every time I meet with someone, I said, listen, I'm gonna tell you right now, this is gonna be hard. Okay, you're gonna cry sometimes, you're gonna hate me sometimes, you're gonna hate the work sometimes.
Hate me now.
Yeah. But it's like, I have a shovel and I don't mind getting dirty. So like, I'm gonna do the digging with you. I'm not gonna stand above and be like, yeah, hit that and hit that. You know what I mean? So it's like, just remember, you're not in this alone. The right person, the right clinician, the right life coach, the life whatever, right? They're going to be the ones that walk aside you during this journey. But like Steph said, you got to know that you're ready, because it's not a cakewalk. We're going to wake up some things that have been sleeping and dormant for a while, and you're probably going to struggle, and it's going to be like, ooh, this is heavy. But just trust yourself in the process, right? And I always bring God into my sessions, whether people know it or not. Mm-hmm. So I'm like, if y'all don't feel comfort from me, you're going to feel comfort from someone. And we're together, we're going to figure it out. But, Psychology Today is a resource that I give out to people all the time, because you can literally filter. Like, I want a Black female in her 20s who does trauma-informed care, and like, people will pop up. And if you can't find it there, there's other resources out there that, if you look for local, and just make sure they take your insurance. Psychology Today also gives you that option, like self-pay, or they let you click the box with your insurance provider. So if you don't have that and you have a PCP, which is your primary doctor, they can point you in the right direction as well. There's mental health clinics, local clinics, if you want to look into that. The unfortunate thing is, like, post-COVID, wait lists everywhere. So like, joining stuff like this, listening to podcasts like this is very helpful, because it'll give you insight on, just looking into yourself first, and then being like, okay, I'm ready to take that deep dive. And I'm here. Hang on. I'll find a chance to services.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I like what both of you said. Steph, the point of being ready, right? Don't go in thinking you're gonna hear, you're the greatest person ever. Nothing is. What everyone else was wrong. You're the victim. Nope. And some people are in some instances, right? But we have to reclaim that and take accountability back for those things. And I think. And while both of you were talking, Jamil was talking, I was thinking, I'm like, for people who are struggling in their mental health, whether that be for all of their life, whether that be because of an isolated incident, whether that be because it's, for them, because oftentimes, right, we have that limited, we taking it back to school a little bit, the understanding that, our clients or people that we work with have limited feelings of control, right? So if we're, and I think in the therapy client, both of you correct me, or anyone correct me if I'm wrong, the idea is to give back that control, right? And for a lot of people, that's too much responsibility to bear. This. Right, the responsibility of your emotions, your feelings, your life, right, is a lot of responsibility that, again, like we've talked about in wounded healers and broken homes and broken relationships. It's hard to point the finger and look in the mirror. It's easy to say, oh, because my mom, or because my dad, or because such and so forth, they were the ones who caused the pain. And yeah, I do want to, I don't want to go too far off track with this, but yeah, I think it can be scary and difficult, but it's definitely a path worth taking. And some of the tips that I went through with my finding my therapist was just going directly through my insurance website, because they'll just generate the ones that take your insurance exclusively. And then I wish I had brought my notebook with me, but I write, I journal everything, but I have one of my notebooks. It's like a list of 10 to 15 I found. And then I was literally just calling. We have a wait list of 3 months. All right, cancel. I need this like tomorrow, next week type situation.
Today.
I needed it today, but beggars can't be choosers. So I went through it, still, okay, this person has availability opening, right? I met with them. It still wasn't what I was getting out of it, right? Or what I wanted to get out of it. So I had to go through several kind of trials in order to figure out, all right, who's going to be the best person for me. And then obviously it took some time. I would say at least 2 to 3 months of research, then scheduling, then meeting before actually getting to, okay, well, what's the actual, what are we here for? And it's, again, a journey that you can't really give up on. And like both of you said, it's going to be difficult. But I think for a lot of people, it's worth it. And if you're kind of on the fence, or, you need more time, definitely taking that time to understand and realize, like, yeah, you need to do the work.
Yeah.
Definitely do the work.
Because we can't do the work for you. And as much as we, the therapist, the life coach, the healer, the wounded healer, we want to help you. We want to do it for you. We have to deal with our own emotions and our own stuff. I want to put that out there, right? Therapists are not machines. We deal with our own emotions, our own feelings, and yours too. Let me get real close. We deal with your stuff too. So be kind to us, right? Show us mercy and grace. We are overloaded with our own emotions. We deal with our own deaths. We deal with our own grief, breakups, divorces, weddings, miscarriage, all that stuff we deal with too. We have now taken on your stuff as well.
Yeah.
We cannot pull you through this.
Yeah.
We will help you. We will assist you. We will show you the path. We cannot walk you through. We'll walk you through it, but we can't pull you through it. If we're exerting more energy than you, that's no relationship you want to be in. We will show you the path. We will be the arrow that points you to the path. But honey, sweetie, boo, you have got to take the steps, because we're stepping on our own journey. Wounded healers are still healing. Chris was saying that. And Jermaine was saying that. Healing is not linear. It's not just one single line. It's up, down, all around. And it's perpetual. It keeps going on and on and on. We're dealing with our own stuff too. And now we've taken on your stuff. If we have to pull you through and then we have to pull ourselves through, that's not fair, right? Treat therapists as humans, because we are. Treat life coaches as humans, because we are. We have the same thing you're going through, we're going through, and we have to do yours. So that's double the work. We chose this profession. No one put a gun to our head and said, you better be a therapist. We chose it, but we also want to let you know we're human, right? If you're not ready to do this, we're not going to pull you through it. We'll help you. We'll guide you. We'll hold your hand, rub your back, wipe your tears. You have to do the walking. And I feel like that's what we've said all season. You have to do the work. If you're not willing to do the work, maybe take a moment, take your Selah rest. Prepare yourself to do the work, because it's a walk together. We're arm in arm. We're linked arm with you. We have the clinical work. We know the ways to guide you. If you're not willing to take the step, we're not the savior. We're not going to carry you on our backs. Oh, I only saw one pair of footprints because it was a savior carrying me. We're not him. We're not going to carry you. You know what I mean? We're going to walk with you. There'll be 2 sets of footprints, yours and ours. If there's only one, we got to pause and take a moment and say, are you doing the work? If not, let's take a moment where we can't carry you and carry ourselves too.
Yeah. And that's why, like, boundaries are necessary. Like, me, I'm a very compassionate person. I will drag somebody. You hear me? I'm like, come on. But even there's a training I had to take called the Stages of Change. And let me tell you how, like, life-changing that was for me. Because I said, Miss Ma'am, if they are stuck in pre-contemplation, well, I guess we sitting there in pre-contemplation.
We'll park the car right there.
right there. I'm gonna take the keys out the ignition because I'm like, we can just sit here until you're ready. Like I feel as a compassionate person and as a person that can see the pain, and I'm like, oh, come on, you're almost there. You're like, no, okay, all right. I realized that I was getting more anxiety trying to walk people out of stuff. I said, Lord, help me, because I'm gonna let y'all be wherever it is that you guys are. And that was game changing. I had, clinicians, we often have to set boundaries because, when we were in grad school, they talk about counter transference all the time. And they would say, like, listen, you're gonna get triggered, which is why, hey, Paolo, he was one of my favorite professors. But he used to say all the time, like, y'all better get some therapy before you become a therapist, because you don't want to sit there, get triggered, and then you can't conduct the rest of the session because you too lost in your thoughts and you done went back to 1996.
Yep.
And it's like, we have to be present all the time. And so if you have a friend that's a life coach or a therapist, y'all be nice. We're not trying to therapize outside of work hours. We're really not. Will we do it? Yes.
Sure.
Can you come for help? Absolutely. But just remember, what we do may not be physically taxing, but y'all, life can get depleted from you because you are sitting with people. So, that wounded healers conversation we had, the broken individuals, and the boundaries, that is so key to what we do as clinicians. And I think that's the beauty of what this podcast is. We're not just talking as lovely Black folks in America. We're talking as being on both sides. Like, we all have been clients, and now we are on the other side of the table, or the other side of the desk, if you will. And we are now trying to help guide people through it. And so, we're giving you practical book stuff, but we're giving you real life situations and real life things we had to work through.
Yeah, really quick, when you were talking, Jermaine, I was reminded when the Messiah said, I felt virtue leave from me. Virtue was taken from us in every session and every counseling, coaching. Virtue leaves our body. I honestly wish that it was more physically taxing, because you can take a rest and take sleep and you can be replenished. Mentally taxing, virtue leaves our body and we get depleted and we have to steal away, just like the Messiah did. There's a comment here that I want to just pull up.
Oh, hey, mama. Y'all, my parents, they
show up.
Hey, y'all. Can you give folks an example of the work needed? Y'all want me to take this because it's my mama? All right, here we go.
Start it off.
The work that's needed, I think Chris and Steph had mentioned it. It's about looking in the mirror and saying, like, outside of who caused this, outside of the abuse that I've suffered, the trauma that I suffered, what have I done to carry that, and what has it led to? Right. So even in my own therapy, my clinician, my therapist was talking about, like, I thought this one event was a reason why, you struggle with, low self-esteem and imposter syndrome and all that other stuff. She's like, Jermaine, it sounds like this stuff went way back before that one event. Like, this event happened in my 20s. And she's like, girl, this goes further back. And so she has me doing a trauma timeline right now. And when I say I was all types of triggered, I didn't like it. But I said, all right, we can do this. Took my time and I kind of went through it. And I feel like what I did is I figured out, like, what are my maladaptive behaviors, or like, what are my behaviors that I think was helping, but it was really causing me more harm. So, transparency, we said we're going to do it here. So second guessing myself, being overly sassy, and feeling like I was over sexualized because I am a thick, plus size, curvy person. Those things, like, were the roots of a lot of stuff, but it all boiled down to this one common theme that I was seeing was disappointment and abandonment. Right. And so I started there, and I was like, shoot, what started off as me being disappointed or feeling abandoned has leaked into all of these other mindsets and behaviors and ways of living and habits. And it's just like, ooh, okay. So I would say take a look at your life and see like where are the areas where you feel like you just keep repeating this stuff no matter how hard you try. Like that's what we do as clinicians. We pay attention to the patterns. Like, oh, so you sabotage the over here, and then you also sabotage the job, and then you sabotage that relationship. Why? Right. So find the patterns in your life, and you're like, okay, so this had to come from somewhere. And if you can't find it, because trauma does make you stuck, like there's only so far your brain will allow you to go back. That's when you know, like, okay, I need a clinician to get me unstuck. Yep. But just look at your patterns, look at your maladaptive behaviors, and then go as far back as you can to start the digging. Find a clinician to help you dig further and to teach you the skill sets on how to overcome.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, I think I was listening, but I was also thinking at the same time, and I feel as though, you know, a lot of the work that comes with this is oh, I know I didn't just lose my thought.
Get it back.
I know.
Bless him.
Oh,
Lord.
what I was there we go. What I wanted to say was my mental health journey and kind of my spiritual. I didn't realize how much my mental health journey and my spiritual journey were so aligned. And for me, I'm in the middle of the work right now. For those who know me and know things about my life, I'm in the middle of the work right now. Like right now in this moment. Once I log off, I'm back in the work. So, and for me, you know, one of the things that was presented recently, and you know, if you haven't read the book, The Body Keeps Score, great book to read. And what I got from that and what I gathered from that is kind of a lot of the things that we have are also not from us. A lot of the weight that we bear also is not from us. And you know, when you're doing the digging, right, like Jermaine said, and you're unraveling things and you're going back and you think, well, what this happened when I was 15, this is what happened. Well, okay, when was it only at 15? Go back a little bit further, right? And what the things that I struggle with, you know, self-confidence, shame, guilt, then these are things that wasn't anything that I did personally. It was things from my relationship with my father, my relationship with my mother, and I had to do that work and say, okay, well, now that those things are resolved, right? I know when I walk into a room who I am. I know as a man in a relationship how to feel secure and not be insecure or toxic. Who am I? What am I doing now? Who am I now? And one of the things that I am very much of the idea that we are spiritual people, obviously, and not only just in this physical world. There are a lot of people, foundational people in my life who I have never met because they've passed away. They weren't here to share who they were and for me to see commonalities and things of that nature. So it's like, all right, if I'm, praying or thinking about my grandmother, who's my mother's mother, who passed away when my mom was a child, whether you believe in guardian angels or spirits and all those other things, like I, look back on situations where I could have been hurt, I could have been killed, I could have been thing, but something or someone was protecting me, right? Whether it was her or someone else in my line or family tree that I may have never met. And for me, it's really about making things right within myself and through them, and kind of just going back and saying, all right, what belongs to me, right? Is it my decisions and my things that I'm doing, or is it something that has been taught to me by someone else? And oftentimes, and the biggest piece or the biggest challenge for a lot of people is sometimes there's work that needs to be done in groups, and then there's work that needs to be done in solitude.
Yeah, isolation.
and isolation. So, you know, and I know for me, right, Jermaine, you and I talk about it all the time. You know, I'm good to just, if I'm in the work, I'm backing out, I'm gone. Catch me in a couple months, I'll be good. You know, but at the same time, you know, one of the things that I'm neglecting myself of is doing the work with the group. And when I say the group, I mean the people around me who care about me and want to do my and want my well-being, and vice versa. Not just any and everybody, of course, but those important people in life who should be looped in and who should know what's going on. So yeah, I mean that's one of the things that, you know, I think is can often be work, right? If you're always in the mix, you're always in the group, you're always around doing nothing, you know, those are probably moments and times where you should be, you know, isolated. I wouldn't say, you know, there's a difference between being alone and being lonely, obviously, as we know. But you know, being alone in those moments and allowing yourself time to breathe and time to think, as opposed to just reacting and avoiding, you know, is what I think is what people oftentimes like to do.
For sure.
Yeah, I agree with both of you. You know, I mean, again, I'll go back to doing the work means being aware of what's going on, right? So, Mama Tanya, if you're asking that question, then that means you're right there on the precipice, right there on the edge of wanting to go over into a new version of yourself, right?
That's good.
And so, if you're aware of that, if you want to know how to do the work, then you're ready to do the work, right? Those who aren't ready for the work don't typically ask. So I want to say that to you, right? That's a good place to be in. Wanting to do the work means being aware of some of the past trauma, as Chris said, that doesn't even belong to you, but you inherited. Some people give hotels, gold, diamonds, jewels in an inheritance. Others give trauma as an inheritance, brokenness, right, as an inheritance. So we have to be careful of what's being passed down and what we're passing down to others, right?
Yeah.
And so that's what I would say, being aware. Also being ready for the change, right? And so if you're on the springboard of needing that change, take the dive and jump off into the best version of who you are. Be aware of the pain that you might feel, that temporary uncomfortability, right? Doing the work is putting yourselves in positions. A lot of people say protect your peace. How do you protect your peace, right? Not by necessarily running away, but you protect your peace. You do the work by building yourself up, that self-affirmation, that tribe that Chris was talking about. He said he wasn't ready to really do group work, not entering into group therapy, but groups, like people around him. Your tribe is everything, right? Who do you have around you to help you and encourage you, keep you accountable to do the work, right? I'm not trying to preach. I'm just saying, who's your team that you have around you to say, I see you doing well, or I see you doing bad. I see you going off on a path that you shouldn't be. Are we willing to accept that accountability, or are we going to be like, oh, I'm just going to leave them alone because they didn't? No. Feedback is a gift. If I'm not doing right, I want both Chris and Jermaine. Hey, Steph, hold on. I kind of see you. Oh, you're going off a path that doesn't really fit what you said you want to be. Accountability is everything, right? Do the work by engaging in uncomfortable situations that are sent to grow you, that are sent to build you.
Yeah.
Right? Don't shy away from those uncomfortable things, because those are the times challenges build our character. If we run away from all the uncomfortable spaces, then we're not doing the work, right? We're kind of hiding and we're kind of avoiding things. Do the work and enter into the spaces and the places that feel uncomfortable, because that's where your growth is. Not to the points of danger, but you know, right? If you're supposed to do something, you're supposed to walk on a certain path, if there's a level of healing and you'll know that the work is happening, you don't respond the same way that you used to, you don't interact with people. I'll say doing the work is setting boundaries too. Then I'm gonna get off my soapbox. Boundaries.
Yeah.
Do the work and set your boundaries. Let your no be your no. That's what the Bible says. Let your yay be yay, your nay be nay, your yay be yay. Yeah, let your yes be yes and your no be no. Set your boundaries and stick to it.
Yeah.
We enable people when we lower our boundaries, right?
Yeah.
We don't allow people to feel certain things. Everyone should be feeling something in life. It builds character. If you're shielding and protecting and hiding everyone, if people are draining your energy, set your boundaries. That's doing the work. That's self-care.
Yeah.
Do the work by practicing self-care. Don't run yourself into the ground because you're no good to anybody if you run into the ground. Do the work in that way. I feel like I'm speaking right to your mom, Jermaine, but I'm a chill, right? I know, I feel it. I'm like, ooh, I'm gonna have to talk to her privately.
The mama.
I feel it. I feel it in a way that I'm like, oh shoot, I need to have a conversation with you, right? Set your boundaries. Don't let people siphon from you. It's like people stealing gas from a car. You stick that little tube and you steal gas. Shut that off. That's doing the work. When you can say, no, I need to take care of myself. It's not selfish. You're making sure you're okay. Because if you don't have anything for your own portion, your overflow is non-existent, right? So that's doing the work for me. Being aware, setting proper boundaries, doing self-care, getting around a good positive tribe who's going to keep you accountable, and entering into uncomfortable spaces that are meant to grow you. That is doing the work.
Listen, as you were talking, I went back to when I went to college and I had to prepare for my track season. And my coach had us in the gym doing all type of exercises. I said, sir, because he was a football player. I said, I know I'm a thrower, but I don't do burpees and all these Superman, Spider-Man. Like, no, but he's in. Like, one day I came in, and when I tell y'all, I felt like I was limping and I couldn't lift my arms here. He said, that's how you know you're doing it right. I said, why? I'm hurting in places I ain't never felt hurt before. It's because you're working out muscles you've never had to work out before. But all of this is building your strength and it's building your stamina. I feel like when you come to therapy, there's going to be places that are hurting that you didn't even know about. So when Steph is talking about you're going to be uncomfortable, you're going to be uncomfortable. You're going to have to face yourself in ways that you haven't. Like, no one gets ready in the morning, or very rare. Let me not say no one. Very rarely do people get ready in the morning and leave the house without taking a glance at a mirror or anything like that. Why? Because you want to make sure that everything is in place. Everything looks the way it's supposed to look, and you don't have toothpaste over here, like eyeliner over here. Like, you have to make sure. That's the same thing with your spiritual, emotional, mental self. You have to take a look and say, what's not right? You know what I mean? And in order to do that, you have to see yourself like, I might be broken here, but I can envision a healed self. I can envision a better self. And that's why the vision is so important, right? The Bible talks about vision all of the time. And we have to align ourselves, yes, with God's vision, but we have to see more than what was. If we don't allow ourselves to see more than what was, we don't have anything to strive for, right? Like, you don't have runners just running without seeing the finish line, right?
Right?
So if you don't see the end, you're gonna be like, what am I running for? What is this race even about? I'm getting real churchy on y'all.
I feel it. It's good.
You have to see yourself different from where you were, because you have to know that after all of this pain, after all of this frustration, after all of this work, there is a better me on the other side of this. There is a better tribe. There is more for me than what I even thought of myself. And if you don't give yourself that moment to take the vision and say, like, you know, I love vision boards, but a lot of people don't know what a healed version of themselves look like. And a lot of times we have to identify what that looks like. And, you know, like,
that's good.
I was gonna say that, but you're good. You got that.
You can expound on it. You can expound on it.
You know,
you have similar thought patterns, so
go ahead.
I feel like you have to be able to see more. And I believe, like, even with walking with God, and I've taken a lot of hints from him, right? And what I do, it's like he is trying to teach you, like, see yourself differently. Like, I don't know how many people in the Bible, he's like, this is what your name was when you were born, but I have to give you a name change, because with the name change comes a new identity. And with a new identity comes a new way of living. Like, yes, you were born Saul, but I need to change you to Paul. Yes, you were born Simon, but I have to change you to Peter. Yes, you were, you know, Jacob, but now you have to become Israel. Why? Because your parents did what they were supposed to do. And now it's time for you to do what you're supposed to do. And sometimes that requires a name change. It requires a mental shift, right? And if you can't mentally do that shift, again, this is why we have, not just counselors, but we have faith-based counselors like myself and Steph, who are able to take both spiritual wisdom and wealth and take the mental stuff that we learned and smash them bad boys together. Because like Chris said, most of the time they're aligned.
They are.
I tell people all the time, your mind is influenced by the world. Your heart is influenced by the things you're connected to. Your soul doesn't move because your soul belongs to God. So that is the thing that keeps you centered. That is the thing that keeps you grounded. A lot of people ignore that soul. And so you have to say to yourself, I got to tap into that bad boy right there, because that's what's going to keep me sane. That's what's going to keep me centered and anchored during life storms. My mind and my heart hopefully will align themselves when I'm doing the work. But if I got to start with the soul work and then work my way out and out. Go ahead, Chris. I'm done.
It's good.
I don't really got much to say after that.
Come on, give us a little bit.
Throw out some vision boards and stuff, but just going back to doing the work and some things, that we can talk about. Like I mentioned before, journaling, doing vision boards, doing groups and retreats. I know both of you have done that, and that's something that I'm still looking for. Like with, like I mentioned before, with me being in the work right now, like I'm very much open to sharing my journey and things with other men, right, and being in community with them, because again, I guess I feel like it's not. I know, right? I've gotten to a point, and my ego has gotten to a point where I know I'm not the only one, right? I know I'm not the only one, and obviously, thank you for all the people who've watched and commented, because you have also kind of reaffirmed that, we are not the only ones going through this. Everyone is. So, I think, aligning yourself with things that work for you, seeing where you are in your path, and then finding something that works for you. I think for most people, we want to have a holistic life, right? We want to feel full of life and not just drained by work, drained by relationships, drained by our thoughts and ideas and all these other things. So, Jermaine, it's hard for me to follow that. He was going in. So, if anyone else has any other comments or questions in the chat, or if there's anything else you ladies would like to share before we wrap up. I know we're getting close to our time, but I think we touched on a lot of different things, and I think we covered everything we were supposed to, right?
Yeah, I think so. When you said you want to connect with men, I definitely want to connect you with the other Chris Henson. He does male check-in groups, so I definitely want to connect you both together and see what you all can do for the male space. I think that's really important, to connect men who are doing the work. I like that you keep saying I'm in the work now, right? That you're there now, you're in it, and so you want to connect with men who are doing the same thing. I love that. So that's all I wanted to say, and encourage any other men who are watching, right? It's not feminine to get help, right? To seek help or to talk to someone, right?
Mm-hmm.
You're your strongest when you're saying, hey, I need some assistance. And I know it sounds weird, but you can't do life alone. And so if you have the strength to say that I need help, then the help will come to you. But it's getting to that place. And I want to say thank you to everyone who's watched and commented. Definitely want that same interaction for next season. We thank you for the comments, the funny comments, the insightful ones, the deep ones. Remember, we even had someone who asked us about relationship help. So that's maybe an avenue we can get into. Look, we had someone ask us about that. And if people want to ask us real-time conversations or questions that we can answer, we appreciate you. A podcast is nothing without its viewers and listeners. And so we're grateful for all that you have poured into us, for hanging with us for this entire time. And let us know what you want to hear, what you want to talk about, what's on your heart. And then we can kind of tailor episodes to meet that. So we appreciate you. We thank you. We love you so much.
Yeah. I don't know. We like Steph said, like we appreciate you guys because we're not just doing this just to talk our faces off, but we want to be able to help others heal and to help others see themselves differently. You know, the cost of therapy, right? Like the Bible talks about, count up the cost, because we all are called to do something. We all have a work to do, and sometimes it is quite pricey. Because it's not about the money, right? Like if you can invest in some $200 pair of shoes, a $300 purse, that ain't like, it's not relieving you. There we go. Of anything.
You got it.
It's just adding weight to you. Okay.
Yeah.
So I would say if you're going to invest in anything, invest in yourself, mind, body, and soul. You know, the cost of being and carrying weight, carrying generational traumas, like that stuff is costly. It's costing you your happiness. It's costing you your peace. It's costing you your joy. It's costing you relationships. And if you want better, you have to do better, right? And you have to see yourself better. So is it worth the investment? Absolutely. Absolutely. Are you going to be tired? Yes. Are you going to be frustrated? Yes. Are you going to hate us as clinicians? Absolutely. Are you going to hate other people that you were once connected to, that you realize, like, hold on, you was toxic this whole time? Yes, you are. But be patient in the process, okay? Because just because you're healing and you have to cut people off, just know God will send the right ones in. You just have to be able to be willing to do the work, be willing to be uncomfortable, be willing to be cut, pruned, sliced down, all that other stuff.
Uprooted.
Get put back together. As the Bible says, you can go through the fire, but you will come out pure as gold. Hallelujah.
Amen.
Well,
on that note, my name is Chris Melville. I've been joined by Steph Lilac Jones. I've been joined by Jermaine Harrison. We've been joined by all of you. Like I said, you know, review all the other videos on YouTube. Some more exciting things, any recommendations for topics that you all want to hear, because, you know, we love doing it live and having the engagement. That's all for me. I don't know if you guys have anything else to. All right.
Great. Let this mind be healed.
Yeah. This has been Let This Mind. Thank you.
Season 1.
See you in season 2.